All right. So I've tried to go on and put a pre-recording video up a few times today, and every single time it has an intermittent disruption. So I'm just going to come on live and play my pre-recorded video. But before I do that, it's like I always try to do these checks and balances types of things on my own internet to see where we're at, right? To see where we are landing at with regards to connectivity. So I'm going to go ahead and do this on screen because there shouldn't be any interruptions with my video, but I've had to post it and take it down a couple times, and that's okay. That's okay. So we know what happens typically when you're trying to share the truth, and so it's okay. I'll just go ahead and it's just another episode of Intel Drop, right? Sharing what matters to us. Okay, and so let's go ahead and look at this screen here. Let me see if it'll let me bring up the tab. And so that I can share. And hello to all of you who are viewing. All right. So here I am at the speed test connectivity. Let's check it out. How much do I have? Even if I only had the 456 Mbps's, it would still be more than sufficient for me to do this show. Okay, pre-recorded, mind you. All right, so let's check it out. Let's see what's going on today with Spectrum and the internet. Oh, it looks like it is rolling on through. Let's see. Where is it going to land? All right, it's going. All right, and so then we have the upload. So I like to show these things because I want for you all to know that I have enough connectivity and proper devices. I tried to do this from 3 so far to be able to do this show. All right. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Definitely want to hear from you. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and start the video. And I'm going to be right here as you are viewing this. So first, I would like to give the disclaimer. And here's the disclaimer. Callie, we see you. Blue, we see you. Hey, shout out to Blue. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit use, educational, or personal use tips the balance in the favor of fair use. And I also want to add into that something that I've been doing lately, which is because I'm in California and I am airing this show from California. And that is the California Constitution, Article 1, Declaration of Rights, Section 2, Universal Citation, CA, Constitution, Art 1, Section 2, and that will be A. Every person may freely speak, write, and publish his or her own sentiments on all subjects, being responsible for the abuse of this right. A law may not restrain or abridge liberty of speech or press. All right, and so let's get started with this educational Intel drop.
Chef and TV personality. Michael Chiarello has died at the age of 61 from an allergic reaction that resulted in anaphylactic shock. He died at Queen of the Valley Medical Center in Napa, California, where he was receiving treatment for the allergic reaction. We deeply mourn the loss of our beloved patriarch Michael. His culinary brilliance, boundless creativity, and unwavering commitment to family were at the core of his being, said his restaurant group, Gruppo Chiarello, in a statement. He was known for his Italian-inspired California restaurants and won an Emmy for Best Host for Easy Entertaining with Michael Chiarello. A graduate of the Culinary Institute of America, Chiarello opened his first restaurant, Toby's in Miami, at the age of 22. He also has various restaurants around Napa Valley and San Francisco, such as Coqueta, Automo, and Bottega.
Understand the seriousness of an allergic reaction. Like, there are people who do not understand allergies to this day. This is a serious matter, okay? This Food Network chef died after an allergic reaction. Do you think that he understood food? Right? But yet, there are so many people that don't understand food in the sense of allergic reactions. Okay, I intimately have dealt with this situation where, my daughter has an allergy to citrus, meaning orange, lemons, limes, grapefruits, and it's in everything. And people don't understand. They think, oh, well, as long as she doesn't touch it or as long as she doesn't consume it, she's fine. No, I looked at an orange, lemon, lime, or grapefruit before. Do you see that the orange, the lemon, the limes, and the grapefruit has skin on it? Do you see the little holes on that skin? Do you understand that it breathes, right? What does your skin do? Anyway, we're going to look at this, and I hope that this becomes more than an iNTEL drop, but also a public service announcement that helps you understand yourself and others and the things that you come into contact with and keep you safe. Okay. An allergic reaction that led to anaphylactic shock has been named as the official cause of death for Food Network icon Michael Chiarello. A source from the Napa County Coroner's Office reportedly told TMZ on Wednesday that the celeb chef's anaphylactic shock then led to a heart attack. The insider said Chiarello was taken to the hospital last month where he was brought back to life, only to later die from hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy, a brain dysfunction caused by a lack of oxygen in blood flow. It is unclear whether or not his fatal allergic reaction was food-related. Chiarello also had cocaine in his system at the time of his death, but did not die from a drug overdose, the coroner's office allegedly said. Now, instead, his recent cocaine use was listed as another significant condition in his death. Chiarello died in the hospital on October 7th, surrounded by his family. He was 61. The Post has contacted the Napa County Coroner's Office for comment. He hosted shows on both the Food Network and PBS and appeared on programs including Top Chef Masters, and The Next Iron Chef. In 2005, he won a Daytime Emmy for Outstanding Service show host for the Foods Network, Easy Entertaining with Michael Chiarello. Okay, so this is filed under Allergy Celebrity Death, Food Network, and you see the name there. But I bring this out because it's a recent example of how serious allergies can be. Now, I don't know if the man died because of the cocaine in his system. I don't know. I'm not a coroner. I'm not a medical expert, but I do understand allergies, and that's what I want to talk to y'all about today. Let's look at some of these comments.
I got my own 2 cents, if you know what I mean. I got my own 2 cents, if you know what I mean.
All right, so here's some comments. Let's read through the comments. Here is Jamitcher. I don't know why it's so difficult to explain what his allergic reaction was. Hard to believe it would be food related since he's been in the kitchen for most of his life and knows what to avoid. And the cocaine use is very typical of chefs, especially back in the 80s and 90s when he was prominent. My brother actually worked for him at his Napa restaurant in the 90s, and my brother did a lot of coke. It's everywhere in restaurant kitchens. And listen, I can't confirm or deny these statements, We're reading through the comments about his death on the New York Post, okay? And then you have a response to that. Claus, maybe he was working on a fentanyl recipe. Well, Claus, we don't know, right? I'm sure that you can't work in a restaurant kitchen on a fentanyl recipe. I don't know. I don't work on restaurant kitchens, so I can't confirm or deny these statements. We're just reading through the comments and looking at what is being said here. And here is Big Billy Lunchmeat. This story reminds me of how car accident victims died from COVID. Okay, Don says, is this why Gordon Ramsay acts like a hyper psychopath? Snow White. All right, so I see a comment in the chat that the wires are being jiggled again. And I don't really know why. That's okay. This is a pre-recorded video, so even after I air this live, I'll come back and show it again. I'm sitting here watching it. Let me know if you can hear me. And if you can hear me, put a 1. I think it's probably something to do with the comments that I'm reading about what happened, right? I'm almost certain that it is. So if you guys can hang in there, we'll get to all of the comments. Please put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Put a 1 in the chat. I'll wait. All right, thank you. So when you see these comments, you'll probably begin to understand why they're jiggling the wires. I mean, there's a lot of people that are saying what happened, and that's fine. But this show is meant to be an intellectual, educational show about the importance of paying attention to your allergies and asthma. So we'll keep going. All right, Snow White, met the guy in real life, didn't recognize him because he was all smiles. Stove Boat, that's a character, bro. Here's Dar from NJ. Hope none gets in the food. Well, yeah, we all hope that we don't ingest cocaine in our food, right? I mean, that makes sense. Anton Leonardo, well, maybe not all of us, right? I don't want to say that everybody has a sentiment that cocaine don't get in their food, okay? Anton Leonard, cocaine is a hell of a drug. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, it probably is. But we're talking about anaphylaxis, right? Like, the coroner is the medical expert. I don't know if the coroner would lie about something like this. Listen, I can't speak to people's intentions and what they do. But, this article was about him suffering from an allergic reaction, okay? But, because of the mention of cocaine, I knew it was going to go to a deeper place, okay? And so this is one, let's see what Rusty Mitchell says. This is one hell of a run-on sentence you got there, dude. You in blow too? Y'all, you know what? This is why I don't even respond to most of the people that comment on my stuff, because these people sometimes are just looking for attention or just something to do, right? And then a lot of you guys get all upset, because these people are coming on your threads and saying stuff that's just outlandish. And well, the outlandish part is that you actually take them serious and take your precious time to respond. But let's go on to talk about allergic reactions and look at the responses. Oh, Anne says Coke is present. They do to want to get fat. Let me see what? They do to want to get fat from the heavy food filled with cream and butter. That make the food taste good and look good, but give me simple food so I can live longer and wave one money. Those restaurants are so pricey. You need 2 whole paychecks to pay for one meal even. You know what? I'm not going to even, let's see. Let's go on and see. Even if you're making $2,000 a paycheck, you have to pay your taxes first. So Americans can send money to Israel to slaughter babies, children, mothers, fathers, grandparents, entire families for no reason other the Jews want to the land the Palestinians own. It's shameful. The Palestinians gave a kindness to the Jews when Palestinians allowed Jews had no place to go. They were being driven out. Okay, see, this is what I'm saying. these articles can take you to a distracted place, right? Because we were just talking about anaphylaxis and allergic reactions and how this chef died. And right here, there's a whole other like argument being brought forward. And your argument may be a good argument. I'm not condoning or endorsing or denying it, but you're bringing your argument into a space like this person talking about fentanyl, right? Where they're talking about someone that died in anaphylaxis. Maybe you recognize that, you know, there are some people that were connected to this chef that, you know, are probably reading this article and maybe reading through the comments, and they're maybe powerful people, and you brought your comment here. But, you know, I'm just saying that a lot of times we bring our arguments into spaces with people that are not decision makers, that are just reporting on something. Journalism is very much alive and sometimes and often biased, right? And so do what you got to do, Anne. But I would say take that argument over to the places where decisions are being made, okay? I see that she goes on to say, in truth, you know, Jews were being driven out of Germany, Poland, Russia, Siberia, Austria. Palestinians showed them kindness, and they began killing the Palestinians, right? So I get it, but what I'm saying is take your discussion and put it into the Code of Federal Regulations comments or responses, because this is what I don't like. Or take it to the UN, right? Take it to the governing officials. You're talking about America and your paycheck, right? Like, you guys put your stuff in the wrong place. Y'all know I'm the Know Your Rights lady. We're not going to sit here and pivot on this for too long, but it triggers me. You have these arguments to talk about your condition and what's going on with you, and you bring it to the Food Network article. Nah, honey, and go over to the U.S. Code website and the Code of Federal Regulations, and I want you to look up a relevant topic, and I want you to make your voice heard there, okay? Go over there when you see your president and all them tweeting out stuff, and you put this comment there, and I'm not saying you haven't. I'm just, you know, using you as an example since you let yourself be used as one. Or go to, you know, whatever relevant office, the Department of Interior, Department of Justice, Department of Defense, whatever it is. The UN has several commissions that, you know, hear from people just like you, Ann, and put your information there. Please, if you have something important to say about the economy or about war or about, you know, human rights, please make sure, folks, that you put your stuff in the right place. Codify your complaint. Now let's move on. We're talking about allergies here. All right. So then Geneva says 70% of coke sieved in the U.S. contains levamisole, an antihistaminic dewormer used primarily by vets, but has been used for ALS patients. For example, this drug has been documented to cause anaphylaxis in certain individuals. So a good guess is that something in the coke triggered that deadly response. RIP. And then here goes Pookie. I agree. So many drugs are cut with bad stuff. I'm shocked more don't die this way. Okay. Here's somebody's comment. James, I put a small amount of coke in a water bottle, and if the coyotes survive, I know it's okay to consume. Roadrunner doesn't appreciate it though. You know, you get, this is what I said, y'all, don't spend your time, because there are some people that they're just gonna be jokers anyway. They're gonna joke around and they're gonna comment all their silly stuff regardless. They don't even know you, right? They don't care about what you're talking about in your feed. They just see it as their moment to shine, as if they're gonna get a Hollywood star on the pavement because they were the satirical fools in the article. Just let them do what they do on the thread. Ignore them, right? And so there you have it. These are some of the comments. You know, sometimes I read these articles and I don't go through the comments, but it seems like people are looking at this as a cocaine related death. This one lady, Geneva, just, you know, illuminated information for me that I didn't know about anaphylaxis in certain individuals. But even still, she's talking about, even if it was a drug induced or caused anaphylaxis, what we were talking about originally is the fact that you need to take allergic reactions seriously because they can lead to anaphylaxis and death. So let's go on over to the medical expert side of this and see what is being said. All right, so here we are at the Mayo Clinic. Allergies and asthma, they often occur together. And like I was saying before, check this out, right? You know, if you have allergies or if you have asthma, have you ever had an allergy panel done, like a test, right? Or if you have allergies, did your doctor ever talk to you about the fact that it can trigger an asthma attack or some respiratory things that are linked to asthma, bronchitis, whatever that may be, right? These are things that you need to know. Like I find, maybe I'm not the only person, maybe I am, I'm not going to assume, that breathing is essential. And breathing the right way and not having to wheeze and gasp for air is vital to life. What would you say? That breathing is important? I think it is, right? And when you have allergies, sometimes you're... Would you say? Put a 1 in the chat if breathing is important to you. Just saying. Your nose can run a lot. You can have a little bit of, congestion, upper respiratory stuff going on. Maybe you didn't know that you needed to have a medication that treated, or some kind of, if you're all into holistic stuff, fine, but have something that treats the pulmonary system, the respiratory system. Those are two different, you're talking about breathing out of your nose, ear, nose, and throat, and the pulmonary system, right? Your lungs, right? And so you got to be able to understand the different systems in your body, immune system, right? And be able to know what's happening to you and be able to understand that you could have spontaneous allergies. Have you ever heard of that? What are spontaneous allergies, right? Meaning that, you could have an allergic reaction. It happened to me. I had an allergic reaction to something I didn't even know what it was, right? And that continued to happen. I lost my voice and everything almost for my whole 40s. And people thought, I don't know what they thought. I don't care about what they think, right? And I went to the ear, nose, and throat doctor, and they're like, nothing is wrong with your voice box. Nothing's wrong with your throat. These are all allergies. So then they sent me to the ophthalmologist, and the ophthalmologist looked under my eyes and said, your eyes are so inflamed, like you need to use a allergy, not, nose spray, because I had already tried that, or not oral medication, right? Because I've tried that too, but I had to start using eye drops, right? Everybody's eyes ain't red for another reason, because they're tired or under the influence of something. Some people have red eyes, itchy eyes. You remember that commercial? Because they got allergies. Some people have allergies and don't know, and they're taking a risk when they go somewhere, especially when they're environmental, right? That they may, have an allergic reaction. And if that's you, did you know that asthma or breathing conditions can be linked to that, right? You like breathing, right? So let's see what the doc has to say today. Allergies and asthma, they often occur together. Allergies and asthma, a Mayo Clinic specialist explains the connection and what you can do to prevent attacks and manage symptoms. You may wonder what allergies and asthma have in common besides making you miserable. A lot, as it turns out. Allergies and asthma often occur together. The same substances that trigger your hay fever, allergic rhinitis, symptoms such as pollen, dust mites, and pet dander may also cause asthma signs and symptoms. Some people, skin or food allergies can cause asthma symptoms. This is true. My daughter with a citrus allergy has experienced this food allergy causing or triggering asthma, upper respiratory infections, all kind of breathing conditions. But we like breathing over here, so we make sure that we're good. Do you like breathing? Make sure that you take your child. Don't just say, oh, they have asthma. Make sure that you also have the doctor check what is the trigger. If there is one, is there a connection to allergies? Does my child have allergies that's actually causing this asthma? It's like the chicken and the egg argument. Which one came first, right? But make sure that they have everything they need to breathe and be treated, because breathing is important. And being able to, breathe out of your nose and your mouth are important part of breathing, right? So This is called allergic asthma or allergy-induced asthma. So James, the doctor here, a Mayo Clinic allergy specialist, answers questions about the link between allergies and asthma. Let's see what he says. Okay. How does an allergic reaction cause asthma symptoms? And so James says an allergic reaction response occurs when immune system proteins, antibodies, mistakenly identify a harmless substance such as tree pollen as an invader. In an attempt to protect your body from the substance, antibodies bind to the allergen. The chemical released by your immune system lead to allergy signs and symptoms such as nasal congestion, runny nose, itchy eyes, or skin reactions. For some people, this same reaction also affects the lungs and airways. See, I'm not even a doctor, right? I didn't have all the fancy words, but I just told you it's important to breathe out of your nose, mouth, and check your, ear, nose, and throat, and your pulmonary system, your lungs, right? The doc is telling you the same thing. Are you going to listen? Okay, get your kids checked. Leading to asthma symptoms. Are allergies and asthma treated differently? Most treatments are designed to treat either, listen to this, I need you to understand this because this is where people get it wrong. And I try to talk to people all the time about their child's asthma or either potential allergic reactions. And for whatever reason, they don't get it and can't understand how deadly it is. Please take heed to what is being presented here today. It may just save you or your child's life. So most treatments are designed to treat either asthma or allergic rhinitis, but a few treatments help with both conditions. Some examples, a leukotriene modifier. Okay.
I got my own 2 cents if you know what I mean. I got my own 2 cents if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I got more than 50 cents. I got something to say today. And I have to take a leukotriene modifier. I'm gonna tell you, this is not a joke. Now, I love being the healthy person to find holistic things. I like yogi tea too. I like yogi tea. I like, all of the fancy teas. You can put your own tea in a bag and go ahead and drink it, but it doesn't solve my asthma and allergy problem. And I pray too. And I still am living with these allergies. So yes, I take a leukotriene modifier. And I'm going to admit that because I like breathing. Okay. So this type of medication can ease both allergic rhinitis and asthma symptoms. Called a leukotriene modifier, this daily pill helps control immune system chemicals released during an allergic reaction. Montelukast singular told some of you parents that your child who is unnecessarily suffering without treatment for their allergies and then continues to have these asthma attacks all year long, that the doctor take this article to the doctor. I've told some of you guys, ask them for singular. Ask them for singular so that it can control your child's allergy and asthma at the same time better. Help treat them, right? And so it is a leukotriene modifier that can treat both asthma and allergic rhinitis, okay? Allergy shots. Immunotherapy. Now, allergy shots can help treat asthma by gradually reducing your immune system response to certain allergy triggers. Immunotherapy involves getting regular injections of a tiny amount of the allergens that trigger your symptoms. Your immune system builds up a tolerance to allergens over time, and your allergic reactions diminish. In turn, asthma symptoms decrease as well. This treatment generally requires regular injections over a period of time, and you can't have spontaneous allergies and do this because you have to know what it is that you're allergic to. And I'm going to tell you this. I had allergy shots and it didn't work because my body, what it did, it became allergic to something else. I remember flying to Northern California from Southern California. I stepped out of the plane and literally within an hour, I had hives all over my skin. Well, what the heck happened? I don't know. Whatever was in the environment hit me. And I didn't have any warning. I just know that I looked around and there were hives on me. Now, I could have been allergic to the place. Yeah, maybe I am allergic to our state capital, right? Maybe I am, right? However, in that moment, I was, having allergy shots weekly with steroidal shots that they give, whatever it is, like it's a medication for, asthma, right? And I had a steroidal inhaler. It didn't work. So I had to take the leukotriene modifier, right? And no, don't go over there saying, oh, Christina said she's on steroids, y'all. She's over there pumping up in the gym. I ain't say that. I said that the asthma treatment is a steroid. Check that out, right? So I'm super cautious because I find that a lot of parents will say, I'm going to give my child all of this asthma medication, and it becomes like this, cycle, this repetitive cycle that doesn't end. And I asked them, did you ask your doctor for the leukotriene modifier? Did you ask your doctor for a more long-term solution, right? You need to understand as a parent that if you give your child steroids for a prolonged period of time, that can also cause issues, right? Make the teeth brown, do some other things that you're not going to like, right? Raise their heart rate. You think that nebulizer and that albuterol inhaler and that, whatever it is that you have to take that steroid base isn't making your child's heart rate go up. They're making their child's heart rate go up. And then, you got mood issues, behavior issues. And the teacher said your kid got ADHD. And you took them to the therapist and they said they got ODD. But did you read the asthma medication? Did you read the allergy medication? It'll clearly tell you that the prolonged use of loratadine, Claritin, can cause agitation, can create aggressive behavior. Did you read the Benadryl? You think that you get these temporary solutions, right? Read the Benadryl. Some children may experience hyperactivity after taking Benadryl. Some people in general. Did you know that? So, I really want you guys to do your research here. And I'm sharing some information so that I can, highlight the importance of understanding. Do your research on the medications, the multiple medications. Understand the frequency and duration by which your child experiences either an asthma or allergy or both type of reaction or attack. And understand leukotriene modifiers and other types of treatments, prior to engaging them. You have the right as the patient to have fully informed consent. You do not have to do what the doctor considers as their golden standard. You hear that a lot. Doctor says that this is our golden standard. Well, it ain't mine, doc. Okay. It's not mine. And so go back and look at the videos that I've tried to teach y'all about having full informed consent. I can't talk about this enough. If you feel like you're being compelled into a medical treatment plan, then you're not an active participant in it. That you might as well call that experimentation, right? Or if you feel like you're being forced to into a medical treatment plan you don't understand because they haven't explained it to you in a way that is understandable, again, you're not an active participant in it. You're just the test dummy, okay? So if you have a doctor that doesn't want to hear what you have to say about your own body, you only get one body, or about your own child's body, your child only gets one body, y'all, okay? Then you're in the wrong place. Go somewhere else. The billions of people in this world, and you're stuck with one dumb doctor who don't want to listen to you. Don't do that. Don't do that. Find a way, because it can be life-changing for you or your child, okay? And so I can't stress that enough. IgE therapy. When you have an allergy, your immune system mistakenly identifies a specific substance as something harmful and releases antibodies known as IgE against the culprit allergen. The next time you encounter that allergen, the IgE antibody sends it in a signal your immune system to release a chemical called histamine. That's why the allergy medicines often are called antihistamines, right? As well as other chemicals into your bloodstream. The medication omalizumab, I don't know what that, look, I done told y'all this English language trips me up all the time. Omalizumab, or Xolair, interferes with IgE in the body and helps prevent the allergic reaction that triggers asthma symptoms. The treatment is used for more severe allergic asthma, but it might also help allergic rhinitis. So it says it might, right? You don't know. Everybody's, I say it like this. My DNA is not your DNA, right? And you have to understand yourself good enough to be able to advocate for yourself when you go into hospitals and urgent cares and doctor's visits. You have to know your child's body, right? DNA, good enough to know how to advocate for them. Because a lot of these things that, they call treatments are not treatments to us. So you need to know. You need to know and understand, okay? So you may need other medication to treat allergies or asthma, especially if your symptoms become severe at times. However, recognizing and avoiding the substances that trigger your symptoms is an important step you can take. Now, if you have spontaneous allergies, I've talked about this a few times, all you can do is be prepared to treat yourself if something happens. Now, people that travel with me know I do not consume dairy, right? Dairy products. Okay. And I don't eat pork. Now, the dairy products is a allergy issue. The pork is a values and beliefs issue, right? And so, both I stay away from. And there are other things that I have consumed over time and had no problem through my childhood, into my young adulthood. And it wasn't until I got into my 30s and 40s when I started having reactions to these things, right? And then when I figured those things out, I found out that something else popped up. So you have to understand and work with the right people, because I'm going to tell you what I did. I didn't just go to the allergy specialist, the ear, nose, and throat specialist. I went to a genetic counselor, okay? Sat down with a genetic counselor and talked about my DNA and talked about the potential factors that are involved. And I think some of y'all got 23andMe and they talk about this. They have an allergy section too, right? They have that medical data. I don't know if you want to share your information with them or not, because some people have opted out of doing that, and that's fine. But it's interesting to read those articles and how genetics are a factor. Okay, so let's go on. Who is at risk of allergic asthma? A family history. This is what I was just saying, genetic factors. A family history of allergies is a major risk factor for allergic asthma. Having hay fever or other allergies yourself also increases your risk of getting asthma. Is all asthma caused by allergies? Though allergic asthma is very common, there are other types of asthma with different kinds of triggers. For some people, asthma can be triggered by exercise, infections, colds, gastroesophageal reflux disease, or stress. Many people have more than one kind of asthma trigger. Take charge. Get your symptoms under control is what the docs say. Okay, y'all gonna listen to the doc? Christina telling you, get your symptoms checked out, know yourself, go to the genetic counselor if you got to. Don't let the insurance folks or the doctor's office say we don't refer over there. Call your HMO, PPO, whoever is in charge of managing your plan. And if you got Medicaid and Medicare, you call the ombuds people, the ombudsman. Okay, every state should have a Medi-Cal ombuds person or an ombuds office. You call them and you tell them that you have been trying to get proper treatment for some time so that you could take charge and get your symptoms under control, that you don't feel like the doctor you have is working with you. Don't sit in an office where you're not getting what you need. Breathing is important, y'all. Breathing is important to life. I know that sounds simplistic, but it's not. Let me tell you. So I'm going to read this and I'm going to tell you a story that what just happened yesterday and why I'm so, serious about continually stressing the importance of your involvement with your medical treatment plan, with your right to advocate to your doctors, to your health plan, to get what you need. Okay. So know the things that trigger your allergy and asthma symptoms and learn how to limit your exposure to them. Work with your doctor to find the best treatment to manage your symptoms and check in with your doctor on a regular basis. Because allergy and asthma symptoms can change over time, you may need to adjust your treatment accordingly. Learn the signs that your asthma may be flaring up and know what to do when it does. All right, so let me tell you about yesterday. So I'm getting on the plane and we're traveling from Carolina back to California. And that's a long haul, y'all, on Southwest. I'm going to be honest about that. 8 hours and 45 minutes. And there's a little girl who halfway starts to have this, okay, like something stuck in her throat. 10 years old. She's getting worse by the minute. And immediately I knew that as a sign of she came into contact with an allergen. And, I'm no medical expert. I'm a mom and a grandma. So I'm giving my mom and grandmotherly opinion here.
I got my own 2 cents, if you know what I mean. I got my own 2 cents, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I got more than 50 cents. I got something to say today. I hear this baby, and she just could not clear her throat, though she was trying. She was traveling with someone who said, I'm not her mom, but, you know, I am a relative, and we're going back to California. A little bit down the road from where we live is where they were going, but they went in through another airport. So we're sitting in St. Louis waiting for the plane to board because we couldn't get off, right? We were just like kind of one of those transfer spots where you stay on the plane and they're going to count you, right? You can't even get off to get a drink or eat. And this baby is, struggling. And so we got down to where we were almost at our transfer point, and she couldn't. The little girl, it was really struggling to clear her throat. And so the, flight attendant says, is there a nurse or a doctor on the plane? This young lady couldn't be more than, I don't know, I don't want to judge, maybe 20 in her 20s, right? Comes up and says, I'm a nurse. And thankfully, she's trying to help the child, recover and figure out what's wrong with her until they land. They were calling ahead to have ambulances and EMT, ready on the ground, right? So, what happened was the baby kept on coughing and everybody kept saying, it's a panic attack. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm so upset because I've heard this same type of throat clearing thing before, and I've had to rush my babies to the hospital to get a shot because they were going, having allergic reactions. And I've had it myself, right? And I just was like, please find out if this baby has allergies. So I'm sitting right behind them, and my daughter's getting upset because she's like, Mommy, they're not taking care of it. It's allergies. We've been here before. And I'm like, absolutely. I hear what you're saying, but you know what? We're on the plane. We don't have authority here. We control ourselves. So I'm trying to calm my daughter down, who's also upset because she doesn't feel like they're understanding that the baby in front of us, 10 years old, is having an allergic reaction. And maybe she was, maybe she wasn't. I'm not a mental health expert either. It didn't sound like a panic attack to me. And the fact that she was on the plane for hours and wasn't having a problem up until after they handed out snacks, indicates something to me. But you know what? Like I said, I'm giving my grandma a motherly opinion. So I had some inhalers and, asthma allergy medication, Benadryl, just in case there's an emergency, Claritin for daily use. My kids take Claritin, right? So I had it in my bag, and I tapped grandma, is what I want to call her, the lady traveling with the baby. And I said, excuse me, I don't mean to pry here, but I'm just asking you to please consider that she's having an allergic reaction, right? And, the nurse doesn't have anything to check her with that's on the plane. But when we stop this plane and when the EMT comes, please ask them to check to make sure she's not having an allergic reaction. I know that you keep hearing that she's having bronchial spasms because of an anxiety attack, but I am encouraging and admonishing you to please check out, her allergies. And the lady says, well, do you have anything for that? And I said, I have Benadryl. And she's like, well, give it to me. And I'm like, I don't know if I can give you, because my children have been dosed medical, therapeutic levels of Benadryl, and I don't know if I can give it to you. Ask the nurse, right? Tell her I can give her a 25 milligram Benadryl, which is a typical over-the-counter dose for an adult, and tell her that I have a 10 milligram loratadine, right? And that I have a, steroidal inhaler, okay? Just in case this thing goes to a situation that becomes worse than we need it to be before we're able to dock and get to the EMTs, get to her. The nurse said, no, we're going to do some breathing exercises. We can't give her that. We're going to give her some breathing exercises, have her bend down and open her lung ways up, and have her put her knees to her chest and all of that. And I said, okay, respectfully, I, just encourage you to ask the EMTs to check her. My daughter was furious and concerned at the same time, right? because she feels like, mommy, you have the antidote, you know? And I said, yeah, but the thing about it is that we don't know if the baby has the little girl is having a, you know, condition or not. We don't know her. We don't know her medical history. So we can't just go around giving out medication. I wanted to offer it to them and the nurse, who is a licensed nurse, for emergency precautions in case, you know, we don't land and the baby's, you know, breathing gets worse, and see what the nurse was going to do with it, right? Because she is the only person on this plane that has medical expertise in the way that can help this little girl, and we're trying to make it to land so that we can get her to the EMTs. And so my daughter said, well, since we can't give her the medication because we don't know her medical history and it might not be safe. And, you know, my daughter was getting upset because they kept bringing her drinks and more things to try to calm her down. And my daughter saying, how do you know that that's not it? How do you know that that's not what caused her, you know, reaction? Stop giving her food and drinks because, you know, it might trigger her even worse. Like, are these people, my daughter's 17, she's like, are these people thinking? Like, are they in their right minds? And I'm like, Anaya, calm down, right? So anyway, they end up getting us to the dock. There's a fire truck out there. We flew into Nevada, so it was Clark County. They had a fire truck and they had, you know, ambulances. And my daughter said we had a teddy bear in our bag, and my older daughter had given it to us in North Carolina. And she asked me, mommy, can I please just give this little girl the teddy bear like she does? She's not traveling with her parents. She's probably scared. You know, she's crying. And every time, you know, she keeps looking at me for like, you know, whatever reason. And I'm sure because they're young, right? They're going to like try to look out for each other. And that's why the little girl kept looking at my daughter. And so Anaya walks up to her and makes her way out of the plane right after the EMT take her on the wheelchair. And she gives the little girl the bear, and the little girl's like trying to hug Anaya, you know, crying tears. And I was just like, this is tragic. And so now my daughter's traumatized because she feels like, and I get it, adults don't check on allergies and don't take them very seriously. And so I wanted to share that story with you all because I want you guys to know anything can happen, right? Anything can happen. But make sure you know that, you know, your child's allergies are taken care of or treated. And if they have asthma, that's treated well. And if you don't know, you need to know. Okay. I have a frustrating time explaining to parents that if your child has a cold every 3 months, it's probably not a cold. Right? I had sore throats when I was little a lot, right? Allergies are related to sore throats. I don't know if y'all know that. If your child has a runny nose all the time and you're giving them cold, and it's probably not even a cold. It could be allergies. Check it out, please. Okay. And so I make this appeal and admonishment to you all to take care of yourselves, to be well, and to make sure that you have everything you need to breathe well. Shalom. And have a wonderful day.